You tell me one athlete right now that's been dominating the game for 16 years straight without a loss. Tell me one. Tell me just one.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of BoxTalk. Today, it's the WBC title on the line. Bermane Stiverne versus Chris Arreola. It's a rematch from a fight they had about a year ago, 18 months ago. And it's one of those fights there where is it really worth the WBC title? Yes, they're both top contenders, both legit fighters. But was the rematch necessary? Ade?
Nope. Absolutely not. And Ryan, you said they're both top contenders, both legit. I'm not even convinced of that, if I'm honest with you. Look, Stiverne hasn't fought since he fought Arreola. There's not been any injury talk, really. It's just a case of, I ain't fighting. I ain't fighting until I get shot. Why? The only person Stiverne has beat with any credence on his record, as far as I'm concerned, is Arreola.
What about Ray Austin?
Sorry, I'm not. What you mean? You mean my granddad down the road, Ray Austin? Look, and to be fair, when Arreola stepped up, he lost to a small, tiny Adamek. Tali's mashed him up, no shame in that. And then he's gone on a tear-up fighting D-level fighters. Yes, people will say he beat Seth Mitchell, ex-NFL player, like people thought could turn into a footballer player, not very good. How can this... No. How can this fight, in terms of the boxing landscape, and right now, boxing, the heavyweight division ain't that bad. How can this fight really be for the WBC heavyweight? One of these guys is going to be called world champion. And I'm sorry, I'm not having it.
I want to defend both of you guys right now. First of all, Stiverne,
you got to come good.
He's been inactive, but that's Don King's fighter. And as you know, Don King's now really a part-time promoter. Yeah. He tries to hold their guys into long-term contracts, doesn't give them fights, and everyone's trying to leave Don King for one reason or another. So Stiverne's been inactive. That's been an issue with his whole career. Yeah. But I blame that more on Don King more than Stiverne. With Arreola's been a contender for a long, long time. And I think Arreola has good skills, has the punch, but Arreola has no discipline. When he comes in about 135, 138, he looks very good.
235.
235, 238, 240, he looks good. Anything over 240, he looks poo-poo. And the thing about it with Arreola is that I like his story, I believe in him, I know he's got the skills and he's got the drive. And when I say the skills, he's not a technical guy, but you know, as a heavyweight, he brings what you got. He's got the size, he's got the power, he's got decent speed, he understands what he's doing in the ring, but he has no discipline. He kind of reminds me of Derek Chisora 2-3 years ago when he was always overweight, where he had good performances, but they were never solid performances because the weight always hurt him.
What, you know, we've got a video, guys. Check out our YouTube video on the heavyweights. We've got a good video and we kind of break down a few of the heavyweights and what we're going to do. And all those guys that we broke down in that video in terms of someone might beat this person, they all seem to be what I'd call athletes right now. We're getting to the stage where finally, after seeing years of bums and overweight bums, we're getting to a stage where you actually start to see athletes coming through. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder has to be proven but an athlete regardless. Yeah. No one can say he's not an athlete. Even Tyson Fury is starting to finally look like he's getting in good shape to become an athlete. These guys, kids, and when you guys watch this fight, you're not watching an episode of WWE here, overweight guy. You're watching two professional boxing athletes. And for Arreola's excuses now are getting ridiculous. Arreola's been a professional, I think, for like 12 years. I think he's come into shape twice in 12 years. Twice. You almost feel like, look, David Haye isn't the best. It isn't the best example you can give, but I think even he mentioned it as well about heavyweights not coming in shape. To me, I don't know if it's a lack of training, a lack of discipline. I don't know what it is, but Arreola, if he does come in shape, like Ryan said, 235, 238, you see good performances out of him. But those performances are against B-level fighters. That's the thing for me. And I do put Seth Mitchell, people, as a B-level fighter. He's not an A-level fighter for me. If you are going to say Seth Mitchell's an A-level fighter, people, when you leave the comments below, don't leave comments below. He's a B-level fighter, and that's what his performances have been at. Maybe that's just his limit. I think that's the problem for me. I think Arreola's that limit. So for me, for what I think is a top B-level fighter, and that's what I think Arreola is right now, I really do, to be fighting for the world heavyweight title, I'm not having it. Especially a title that's been like emptied, or I don't know what the word is right now, by to me one of the best heavyweight fighters of our generation, if not any generation, Vitali Klitschko. It's a shame, I think, for these two to be fighting for that title. I really, genuinely believe that.
I agree to a point, but I also disagreed in a sense, whereas, to be fair, the heavyweight division only started to get his feet under it again in the past, say, a year, 18 months. The contenders Arreola had previous to that, like the guys like Travis Walker and those type of guys along those lines there. Again, good fighters, not fought in them, but they were not good heavyweights. Yeah. So even though you said they were D-level fighters, yes, they were D-level fighters, but that was the best the division had at the time. I mean, you went through a time you had all the Eastern Bloc fighters, the Sotman Bragorovs, the Shagievs and those type of guys there, but those guys didn't really fight the other peers out there. Yeah. Arreola was kind of like the hidden threat at the time, and giving credit to Vitaly Klitschko, who they don't need credit, he's the one who went to America and said, let me go beat up Chris Arreola. And he went and done it. But all the other guys didn't really want to do it. So Arreola had that following earlier on where people thought he was going to be the first Mexican heavyweight champion in boxing.
See, that's the thing for me. He had that following because of that.
Yeah.
That's why I genuinely believe he had that following. The Mexican fighters, we know really, you're coming down 154 pounds and below. Yeah. You're not really saying, no, Mexican heavyweight champion, it just doesn't happen. It's almost like the great white hope there was years ago with Tommy the Machine Gun. It's like that. For me, I think, and I genuinely do believe this, to me there's a better argument for Fury Chisora being for the WBC in terms of what they've accomplished compared to what Stiverne and Arreola. People send your things in. Who has fought the better fighters and performed better between Chisora and Fury and Arreola and Stiverne? It's close. It really is close. And I think Chisora, who he's fought in the last 4 or 5 years, adds up to me in terms of competition, even in terms of how he's performed, much better than both Arreola and Stiverne put together in the last 4 or 5 years. I genuinely believe that. I think Stiverne has fought, like Ryan said, and we joked about it, his best fight is Ray Austin.
Okay, the thing about
Ray Austin.
See, the thing I will say is that I agree.
Doesn't Ray Austin do MMA right now?
I agree with you partially, again, where you're right about Fury and Chisora, but again, we're talking about international boxing. And you're talking about profiles, marketing, money, and TV companies. And again, Chisora made that step up, but he didn't win those fights. So even though he got robbed against Hernandez, he put a very good performance against Vitali.
The best performance we've ever seen anyone in the last 7 or 8 years put up against Vitali. Yes, an unfit, broken Vitali. I don't care, he still knocks us out.
Unfortunately, he lost those fights. And again, same thing with Tyson Fury. Again, this is all of recent times. So I see your point where you're saying they are better or deserve more credit, but you're talking about an international profile, international fight where money's being generated. When we're talking about money, apparently ESPN now has picked up this fight. ESPN has not been into marketing proper boxing besides the Friday night fights for God knows when. Yeah, ESPN has actually got back into boxing because of this fight, because they don't have a Ukrainian having the title. They see it being an American thing or Canadian, Haitian.
So now finally they've got a Mexican American fighting against Haitian, Canadian. The good thing about these guys fighting is that whoever does win the title, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, I'm probably going to slightly lean towards Stiverne because of what he done to Arreola in the previous fight. Good matchup. I thought Stiverne won that. Not comfortably, he won that, and I think the same is probably going to happen again. Is that all the pretenders out there, all the contenders are going to be circling like sharks. I think you're going to get a lot of fighters that are going to feel, wait a minute, I can beat either one of those. And you're going to get a lot of guys between number 3 ranked to number 15. That's how deep it's going to go soon. Once the Vladimir and Vitali move out, they're going to think they can beat both Arreola and Stiverne. So finally, regardless of if I like the matchup or not, which I don't, we're gonna get a competitive heavyweight division now. Well, I don't think the title is gonna be held by one single person for a long time anymore. I think it's gonna literally go from person to person to person to person until, I don't know, maybe Deontay Wilder steps up and really starts knocking people out like he has been.
I think Arreola will fight anyone.
Of course.
I think he'll fight anyone. I believe if he won this fight, I legitimately believe he will make a run at anyone that opens their mouth.
Yeah.
Arreola's got that type of swagger about him where he will actually make a fight and put himself for a fight. If Goosen puts him into a fight, that's another question.
Big question.
But Goosen, if Goosen gets a heavyweight title in his camp, he's not going to want to give it up. So I say that for with Stiverne, again, with his whole promotion issues, Stiverne is, I would say he's a quiet guy, but he's not making any press releases. Yeah. I'm not too sure.
He's a boring heavyweight. We don't want to win.
I'm not sure how, if he wins the fight, Doug is going to say, I'm back on top. I don't see where Stiverne goes with the title. I mean, like I said, he's been very inactive due to promotion issues. I don't see how. As much as the heavyweights on the rise, I can't see how Stiverne helps the division with his current contract. See, not Stiverne, with his contract.
Yeah, you're right, and it's not Stiverne's fault. He's probably going to get out the contract with Don King. There are whispers, rumours online. Go and check it out right now. Al Heyman's interested, and you will go know what that means. Once Al Heyman's interested in you, you're gone, basically. He's going to sign you, and you'll probably be on bloody Big Brother soon. But look, what it is that the heavyweight division is one where if Vladimir steps out, again, rumours after his fight that he might, we have a heavyweight division where literally anyone in the top 10 can think there can be anyone in the top 10. It now becomes interesting.
And those are good top guys in the top 10.
Yeah, you good guys. You chuck in Fury, you chuck in Chisora, you chuck in Malik Scott, you chuck in Jennings, you chuck in Perez.
Yeah.
There's loads of guys in the mix that you can chuck in. And
the Germans,
Kulilev, and Povetkin's not gone away after that Vladimir fight. He still thinks he's got a lot to offer. So you chuck in all those guys, and you couldn't call a favourite if they fought each other.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting. But is the heavyweight division becoming interesting because they're B-level fighters? And I don't mean B-level in terms of not good enough. I've been talking about, could you chuck any of those guys into the era from the 90s and 80s and be comfortable? Like you could chuck in Vitaly and Vlad. I'm not sure yet.
No, I think the question is, will any of these guys end up becoming a dominant champion?
You know what the funny thing for me is? Right now, no. Right now, and the reason is I can't see who's best out of all of them. Deontay Wilder hasn't really fought anyone yet. Malik Scott fell asleep from getting, I don't know, he farted and Malik Scott fell down. I'm not sure who the best is of the rest yet. Hay still is. Hay after surgery is going to come. No. Hay after surgery is going to come back so he can make a great run. But let's go back to the fight. Who wins? Why do they win?
I'm going with Stiverne based on his last performance against Arreola. I'm not convinced Arreola's going to come in shape. He always says he is, and he never is. Arreola, who's reportedly around 6'4", is a big guy. He's got big shoulders, and he's got big shoulders. Yeah, I don't see why a guy with that size has to carry extra weight, and that's just as simple as it comes. People might notice I'm a little stickler for fighters coming out of shape. I just don't get it. It's your full-time job. Yeah. That's what you pay to do.
We do this part-time. We're still half decent.
You're half decent. But the point I'm making is that, yeah, it's difficult.
I'm with Ryan here. Look, it's going to be a good little fight. Arreola always does come to fight.
Comes to fight.
The problem is Arreola in his changing room before fights he has pizza. That's clear because he does come in overweight all the time. If he takes it serious, and this is what we're not showing a lot of things about Arreola's training camp. If Arreola takes it serious and gets down to almost akin to what Chisora is doing, gets down to 225, 228, and should do, he's a professional fighter, then we've got a different Arreola. But does he lose a bit in terms of punch power? I don't know. But either way, for me, Stiverne wins a unanimous decision, and we have the most boring, the most paper WBC heavyweight champion I've seen in a long time.
Arreola reminds me of Hazim Ratman. Hazim Ratman, under 230, always put on great performances.
Yeah.
Always looks sharp under 230. Over 235, again, it was just poor performances. And it's one of those situations, whereas if you put the effort in, put it in the gym, put it in the training camp, do your road work, eat right, no coronas, Arreola, no coronas, and you're okay. When you don't do that, that's what you're gonna get.
All right, look, guys, what do you think? I mean, we've torn this fight apart. Look, it's a good matchup. We're not tearing it apart because it's not a good matchup. Because look, it's fights. You know, it's styles that makes fights, and these guys will come in and they'll brawl for 12 rounds. The thing for us is that this is for the heavyweight championship of the world. This is for a fight that about Vitaly held, and Vitaly will fight in any era and do well and probably beat a lot of people in any era. And I think exactly. And I think the champion deserves to be someone that's going to take that on again. I'm not sure if any of these two can, but you never know. Once it goes into the pot, into the mix, everyone will fight everyone. So maybe we're just moaning about something that's going to eventually turn out good for us. But look, who wins this fight? Does Arreola win it? Does Arreola kind of reverse the decision he got last year against Stiverne? Or does Stiverne still do what he does best and win a fight? Good care record as well. So does he try and maybe stop Arreola? I'm going Stiverne. Ryan's going Stiverne. What are you going? Leave your comments below. Email us at
BoxTalk@hotmail.co.uk.
And guys, don't forget to check out ringnews24.com for all your latest boxing news. Thanks again for watching another edition of Box Talk.